Hello there and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be discussing used compact SUVs for under $30,000, but it is not going to be a top three picks. And I will get to why in a moment. But if you remember correctly, as a recap, my last video was a top three picks for used sedans under $25,000. And that video covered the Kia Forte, Honda Civic, and Toyota Corolla. And it covered, why I thought each one was better. And I went into space, cargo space, passenger space, leg room, hip room, shoulder room, head room, all that sort of stuff. And I also went into fuel economy, overall cost of the car, like starting price for the lowest base trim that you could get, and pricing for their top trims. And that's kind of how I broke it down, and that's how I was able to come to a decision on which one was number one, which one was number two, and which one was number three. For this video, it proved to be vastly more difficult. And the reason for that is, at least for the three cars I picked, which was the Kia Sportage, the Hyundai Tucson, and the Mazda CX-5, when I was looking through, at least on paper, what their differences were, I could not find enough relevant difference to adequately separate them out into a number one, two, and three pick. The only thing that was vastly different, or different enough, was, I believe it's the 2022 Hyundai Tucson has actually a fair bit more cargo space than the Kia Sportage and the Mazda CX-5. However, that is not enough to differentiate one, two, and three. It would probably be enough to put the Hyundai Tucson in number one based on everything else I was seeing. But for the most part, what I was finding was these cars, aside from styling and aside from the badge on the front of the car, there's not a whole lot of difference in terms of what you're going to get out of them practicality wise, cargo space, aside from 2022 Hyundai Tucson, leg room, head room, shoulder room, hip room, all that sort of stuff for both front passengers and backseat passengers. They did not appear that much different. They also did not come out to be really any different in fuel economy. Safety ratings, from what I could find, were seemingly all about the same. Reliability, seemingly all the same. So my idea for this video is more to go into, if you're in this segment, it's going to come down to, because there is a little bit of difference in pricing between each brand. Honda and Toyota, in all honesty, are the two more expensive ones in this kind of a car bracket. But that's because they come with a lot more standard features, and then also there's a fair bit more add-on. But for Hyundai, Kia, and Mazda, they're pretty much neck and neck with each other. And then it's, I know there's Ford and there's all these other companies that have compact SUVs right now. And there's even other compact SUVs besides just the ones I've listed from the same brands. You'll have the Hyundai Kona, there's the Ford Escape, there's the Ford Edge, there's the Toyota RAV4. But then I would say also the 4Runner is kind of in a similar segment, although it's closer to a full SUV. So I don't know if you really want to include the 4Runner in there, but the Highlander is pretty close in size. For Honda, it would be the CRV and the Passport. It personally, from what I was, again, so back to what I was finding, I think it comes down to personal taste and what you're looking for in a car. I know everybody has a brand loyalty. I grew up with a lot of Toyotas. So if it was my family looking for a car, they're going to be looking at Toyota. I know there's some families who grow up with Ford, so they're probably going to be looking at Fords. There's other families who are always had a Honda, or always had a Hyundai, or always had a Kia, or always had a Mazda. And it's just going to come down to, what they're looking for and their preference. And there on the opposite side, there's people who they had one brand for a long time, and then they had one car that just pooped out on them, and they had a terrible experience trying to get it serviced, and they're like, never again. I want to find something new. To be in all honesty, it again, it's just going to come down to what's the flavor that you like, what kind of styling are you looking for. For me personally, I don't entirely like the Kia Sportage styling all that much, and I'm iffy on the Hyundai Tucson styling. The Mazda CX-5, Honda CR-V, and Toyota RAV4 all have styling that I can look at and go, that's a decent looking car. Like, it doesn't stand out particularly, but it also, isn't leaning towards ugly in my opinion. Um, and also like the Ford Edge, I think some of those look pretty decent. But for me personally, with what I would be looking in a compact SUV, you know, I'm I because I'm a car guy, I'm looking more towards I want practicality and performance. And the only really compact SUVs I can find that offer that is the Kona N from Hyundai and the Edge ST from Ford. I can't really find a whole lot of other ones that provide that. Um, and my preference would be more towards Ford just because it has all-wheel drive. The Kona N has, I think, arguably the better designed engine, but it's front wheel drive only. And I would, in an SUV, I would prefer to have all wheel drive. But that's me personally, and that's the point that I'm trying to make here. Is if you're buying a compact SUV in this price range, it really is going to come down to your personal preference and what you're looking for, and what you're trying to find in a given car. Maybe you want leather seats, maybe you don't want leather seats, maybe you want a sunroof, maybe you don't, maybe you want the navigation system, or or you don't want one. You want the safety suite, or any combination therein. Now, if you're trying to just get a compact SUV with the absolute most cargo space, at least of the three I mentioned that were going to be the top three picks, the Hyundai Tucson, if you get 2022 or newer, has the most cargo space out of those three, and it's by several cubic feet. So it's a little bit of a noticeable difference. Now, there might be other ones, I don't know, maybe the Honda CRV has more cargo space than those three. I don't know because the Honda CRV wasn't in the top three picks for me. But that's kind of the point I was wanting to make with this video. I felt, there was a time for a bit I kind of just wanted to ditch this whole thing because I was like, there's not enough. I'm not finding enough difference between these three cars to pick a 1, 2, and 3. So why would I talk about them at all? And it took me a little bit to come to the realization that wait a second, no, I can still talk about them. It's just this is how I'm going to do it. And I do apologize for the hiatus that has been the last month and a half since my last video. It you know My wife was telling me, people when they're starting these things out, they'll get discouraged and then they stop and then they don't start back up. And I was like, I need to, I need to make another video. I need to get back out there. So hopefully, I can kind of get back into the rhythm of things and start cranking out videos at my usual rate and maybe even a little bit faster because I'm gonna start pouring more time into this channel. Um, and also, I am going to, from here on out, until I've built this channel up some more, the focus is going to be on cars for the time being. And then later on down the line, I will expand into history a bit. I might keep it on World War II history, like in the technology, like tanks and planes and warships and stuff like that, because that's where most of my knowledge is. But for now, it's going to be cars, and I have some ideas for how I can have content, going forward, and I will try to, kind of keep up with the YouTube video making, and likely I'm going to expand into, I did think, and if you're watching this right now and you think this is a good idea, I would appreciate a comment. But talking about new cars that are being revealed and what I think about them, cars that are showing up as concepts, in the different auto shows that are going on, cars that are showing up in SEMA. At least just what I can find information on them, because obviously SEMA has now passed and I didn't go. But hopefully in the future I can go under a press ticket. But for now, it would just be whatever I can find on the internet, because I know there's a lot of stuff that gets revealed at SEMA. Because I did go in 2019, so I know the kind of caliber of stuff that's there. But that's probably where it's going to be. And also trying to get some equipment so I can record in the car, so I can do so I can do reviews on cars, so I can do a review on my car, the Focus ST, so I can do a review on my wife's car, the Honda CRV, and my thoughts on how they drive and how they behave and all that sort of stuff. But until I get that equipment, not really gonna mess with doing in the car recording. So, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a little bit shorter than past videos, but that was because there wasn't as much to talk about. But I hope you still enjoyed it. And if you did, I'd really appreciate a subscribe and hitting of the bell. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you very much and have a great rest of your day.